I rock a dad bod. Drop my Hellcat like it's NASCAR. Barbecuing in my backyard. Gotta love it on my dad bod.
Well, welcome to week number 2 of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League's podcast of the finals. Hey, the finals are underway and we are tied on 1 game apiece. We will get to highlights shortly. Reminder, the theme song, Dad Bods, Jamie Mines. You can get his music up on Spotify and you can get it on iTunes. Really a fun guy out of Calgary, Alberta. Don't forget, if you're looking for some souvenirs from the first ever Sleeman Cup finals, you can get t-shirts. They're on sale in either Fergus, where the Allura Rocks play, or in Tillsonburg. There is a limited number up for grabs, so make sure you get them in the next few games. We're going to check out some highlights, though, from game 1 and 2. Let's head to Allura and see how game 1 came to be. Well, bingo bango, what an absolute beauty of a game 1 for the first ever Western Ontario Super Hockey League finals, as Tillsonburg visited Fergus to take on the Allura Rocks for game 1. The Rocks, as you saw, got the game. They scored the touchdown, 7-5 over Tillsonburg, but things, they take a different turn. On Saturday, when they headed to Tillsonburg for game number 2. Here are the highlights for that one.
Looking for an opening, and they score. Allura is the first one off. Here comes the Thunder now. The shot, scored! Couldn't get the shot away, scored! Up the puck. And out comes forward is Mike Rebbery, who scores! Out of their own end now. Across the blue line. There's the shot and score! Looking to center pass. There's a shot in front. Scores! Here comes another shot. And they score! That just kind of trickled in past Raymond. Gwinnett comes back out into... And they score! There's a shot, goes wide. And they score. Thunder come up with a puck. Bit of a tumble there at center ice. There's a shot, scores! Out front. They're on the power play, 1:22 left, and they score! Thunder go ahead. In the face-off circle, and it's knocked all the way down, and they score! Into an empty net. And they score on the power play.
All right, there's game number 2, and yeah, this time the Thunder at home put up the touchdown, and they won 7-6 over The Rock. We are going to look at see where the games are taking place at the end of the podcast, but we have a very sick, very cool interview with a former NHL ref, a former OHL. That's me going through the list of accomplishments Bob Langdon has done in his hockey career, and now one of the refs in the finals in Fergus this Friday night for the Allure Rock versus Tillsonburg Thunder. Bob Langdon after the logo. Bob Langdon is joining me on the podcast, and we'll get a different perspective this week. Bob, if I was to sit here and list off your accomplishments as a referee, a front office guy, and a linesman, it would take up the entire time of the interview. Thank you so much for joining me. You have an extensive career in hockey.
I've kind of been there, done that for sure.
So let's get into that for a minute, Bob. What a lot of people don't realize is refs in the NHL and other professional leagues and leagues around, you were a player first, likely.
Yep. Yeah, I played junior B in Tillsonburg and Elmer, and started to play a little bit in the Colonial League. I played a couple exhibition games, and then as a kid I was refereeing, and then after that I was kind of pushed towards getting back into it. Started playing senior A a bit, and then I just stopped and focused my career on refereeing.
So when you started refereeing, how does it work? How do you move up the ranks? Like, let's just go through a couple. You were in the LHL, you were in the Central Hockey League, the International Hockey League, you were in the American Hockey League, you were in the show, the NHL. How do you move up those ranks? Is there different tests and stuff you have to take, or is it like getting drafted as a player?
Yeah, it's just like a player. You get scouted. Willie Norris, who was with the NHL when I was playing, he actually came out and was kind of the one gearing us towards. There was me and a couple other guys towards officiating. And then when I start officiating, you get basically scouted, and guys come out and watch you, and you just kind of get hired for different leagues. And yeah, and then the NHL scouts get word, or they come out and watch you, and you basically get hired.
And when you made the jump from, let's jump right into the National Hockey League. Is it like for you, your first game, do you save something like, you get a first goal, you save your puck, you save this stuff? What did you save?
For sure. Well, the first exhibition game I have in the NHL was Pittsburgh. I have that puck. And then the first game I worked, league game, was in Chicago. I have the puck, the game sheet. And then we get a plaque for the officials every year. The next year at training camp, the guys you worked with present you with a plaque of the game and everything like that.
And you've also done some international hockey. How different is that from North American?
It's way different. It's kind of, that's the way you see the game kind of going here. I'm not a fan of it. It's wide open. It's fire wagon, river skating hockey, but nobody hits anybody. You barely get a hit, but they play on the bigger ice. So it's a freewheeling style. And over here, it's more of a crash and bang.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that. Is it tougher to ref on the big ice?
Oh, no, it's, you adapt and adjust, because believe it or not, a lot of rinks, even though they're supposed to be the same size, aren't the same size. So you just adapt and adjust to whatever game comes your way.
And let's talk about the NHL. I have a very odd question for you, and I'm sure people have asked you this before about being an official in the show in the end. Is there a different rule book to call a playoff game than a regular season game? And I ask this, I'm not ripping on the refs by any means. I just find the game is so different when you hit the postseason.
The rule book remains the same, and they tell you a penalty in the first period of the first exhibition game of the season is the same as a penalty in the seventh game of the Stanley Cup final. But we all know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you call penalties way differently in the playoffs. And that's just the way it is. It used to not be that way. And then it gradually changed because they really harped on regular season calling a certain standard, and the standards changed 50 times in the last 20 years. But playoffs are playoffs. You don't want to be the one to decide the game. So you throw the rope out. Sometimes you need to give it a little tug back. And other than that, let them take it, and whoever wins, wins.
Who is the scariest guy you ever had to get in the middle of a tilt?
See, I was a referee, so I didn't get into tilts, even though I like to. Sometimes I grab guys and push them around, but there were some big guys like a Peter Worrell and a George Larocque and Donald Brashear, and Ty Domi was really, really strong, but his head was giant. So
yeah,
he's a little guy, but they were just very, very strong guys. So sometimes, but they listened. They were respectful of the officials. If you needed to tell a guy to beat it and shove him away a little bit, they did.
What's the most memorable game you ever you ever refed?
Worked a lot, like in the Montreal Bell Center on a Saturday night. Hockey night in Canada is awesome. Any game in Madison Square Gardens, because it's an event in New York. They don't even care what's on in the Gardens. They just want to go. So any game like that, it's hard because at different levels, there were so many awesome games I worked, like back in the old Colonial League days in the finals in Quad City and Flint. Like there's different games on different levels. A game in Hamilton and the Bulldogs game in the American League where the guy got his baseball swung, Parajogan baseball swung a guy's teeth out of his face. Games like that stick with you. There's a lot of them.
And what was the point where you decided to hang up the NHL jersey and just retire from professional and all the other like hockey operations experience, commissioner, All-American Hockey League, and just kind of take up reffing in a league like the WOSHL?
Yeah, well, I left the OHL when I went back to the OHL in 2015, and that was it. I thought, no, I'm going to take a break. I'm done. My knees are shot. I'm just going to, just get on with my life. And I'm the president of minor hockey in Woodstock, so hockey's always been my life. So it's hard to get away from it. And then I started to get the itch again. And I guess when COVID started, I had nothing to do, and I started to get the itch back on the ice. And then this opportunity came up. I've known Jim Carman, who's the referee in chief, for a long, long time. He was a mentor back when I started. I've known Jamie Petrie since junior days. We played against each other a little bit. So it was just a good opportunity. And I thought, it's a growing league. I know they want it to be like a minor pro league because it has a lot of ex-junior players, ex-pro players, college players, European players. Like, it's just a good minor pro structure that I wanted to be involved in. And getting back on the ice was a good part of it.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you, and I'm glad you've taken time to join us. Do you have any of the games coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I'm Friday night in Fergus.
You're in Fergus Friday night. You'll be calling a game. I have another question about being a ref since you've done it for so long. How do you feel about kids not wanting to do it now, or parents not wanting their kids to do it because of the abuse they take from people in the stands? And I'm sure you've taken your fair share as well.
Yeah, and I get this all the time. Like, we're in a big minor hockey recruiting for referees because minor hockey is really short of referees, and people keep blaming it on the fans and the parents and the coaches. But I really disagree with that because it's been like that forever. I remember being a little kid at the arena, and there was always police escorting the referees out of the building everywhere. So hockey hasn't changed. People have changed. So I think people and kids have a lot thinner skin, and they don't take it as well, and they don't think they have to. So we just have to get back and recruit. And yes, the coaches and parents, of course, they have to smarten up, but it is what it is. As a referee, you just have to learn how to deal with every situation as it comes and just have a little thicker skin. And that's what we're really trying to push now.
Well, that's exactly it, right? Because you're in charge of the game, and, it doesn't matter what's being said to you. You are in control. You can send those people away.
All right. Yeah, and I've seen it. I've never done it because nothing really bothered me that much. I've had things thrown at me, chairs. I've had many things poured on me. Like, it's fun to me. I think it's hilarious. Like, I love that stuff. I love when people get fired up. But it's one of those things where it is what it is. People just have to learn to adapt to the way it's going. And hopefully we can convince a lot more younger officials to get back involved.
Have you ever been a part of, I saw a meme about this, and I know I've seen it on TV watching hockey. There's a section of fans dressed as refs, and they were cheering for every single call. Have you ever been a part of something like that? Or
yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it in different rinks in the minor pros for sure. Because we get, people, they love to, everyone loves to hate the refs, but then you get all the guys that love to be hated. So they're we're going to be referees and we're going to cheer for the refs. It's hilarious. Because when it comes down to it, like I went to the bar and drank with many players on all levels after the game, had a beer with the coaches, the GMs, the owners. It's just a game when it comes down to it. Like, I know it's gotten to be a big business, but it's still just a game. And, people that don't leave it on the ice shouldn't be in the game. And 99.9% of people in the game are hockey people, and the game's the game. They leave it on the ice and they go from there.
Well, I was just that you had mentioned, and I have heard Jeff O'Neill and I've heard Jamie McClellan talk about going out and having beers with refs afterwards. How normal was that in your time in the NHL? Like, if you happen to be in the same place, would you sit down with players and stuff?
Yeah. And they told us every year at training camp, in every league, if you see the players, just wave and walk the other way and stay away from it because, people can talk and yada, yada. But of course you sit, you're cordial, you have a beer, shoot the shit. Some guys you're closer with, some guys you're not. It's a big family and it's just something we did.
Well, you're all hockey people. And like you said,
right.
If you can't leave it on the ice, you shouldn't be in the game.
Exactly.
And I'm looking forward to catching a couple of games that you ref next year. How are you looking forward to reffing the finals? And so far, what's been a barn burner of a series?
It's been a great series. Like, there's a lot of good, talented players in this league this year, and there's a lot on both these teams. Allure and Tillsonburg, they're stacked, and it's good because there's a lot of good physicality in the game, and there's a lot of talent. Like, there's been a lot of goals, and it's not because the goaltenders are weak, because there's two of the best goalies in the league. So it's just a battle, and the hockey's really good. It's nice to see the fans out support. I went to Tillsonburg's last game. I was off, but I thought, I live close by. I'll go watch. Great turnout, great support. And it's I'm glad to see the leagues got through this year. Of course, there was the shutdowns, the hiccups, but you're going to get growing pains. And I see Jamie and Bill have a great vision for this league, and it's really going to grow, I think.
Well, for sure it's going to grow. And you're right. It's hard to believe they've gotten through the first year, because talk about a year to get through shutdowns. Yeah. There's a pandemic, and they seem to just carry on with a smile.
Yep. Yeah. If you can get through this year, then the sky's the limit for sure.
Yeah. You're golden. You're laughing. I'm not going to keep you much longer, Bob. I just want to thank you for taking some time with me and chatting all things hockey officiating. It's a very interesting career path that you took, and people don't realize you go through it just like a player to get where you got to. So congratulations on getting there, and thank you so much for helping out the league.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's podcast. Series all tied up at one game apiece. How does the rest of the series look? Well, Game 3 this Friday night in Elora, Fergus, and Game 4, April 9th, 7:30 in Tillsonburg. Game 5 is a go, April 22nd, 8:30 in Fergus. Game 6, if necessary, after this weekend, April 23rd, 7 p.m. in Tillsonburg, and Game 7, the dreaded Game 7, April 24th, 7:30 in Fergus.
I rock a dad bod,